Capture the show last night. We are quickly going to go through some of the scores. The first game that we are going to address is probably the most exciting game yesterday for me. I don't know if it was exciting for you, but yesterday, as we entered into week number 6, we had, I would say, one of the strangest weeks, a very defensive week. The Browns, yes, upsetted the 49ers. And this is a game that if you had betted on it, you would have done very well. The spread on it was massive. Now, let's have a quick look here. Brock Purdy, this was probably one of the worst games he's had. It's also his first loss in, I believe, 13 games. So he is now entering into a situation where he didn't get 30 points. This is the first time in this new season. They had won the first 5 games of the season. Now they had 215 total yards. They had 215 total yards in some of the, oh my God, quarters this year. So, but if you look here, we've got the Browns who had 334 yards. No one would have anticipated that. The passing yards were only 107 for San Fran and 174 for the Browns. The rushing yards were 108 for San Fran, and we also had 160 for the Browns. This is the one that I think is the telling statistic. San Fran only had 3.9 yards per play, and the Browns had 4.8. Here's the thing. We're looking at 12 penalties for San Fran and 13 penalties for the Browns. It was an incredibly intense defensive game. Now, interceptions, they only had 1, San Fran, which is unbelievable. The Browns had 2. Here's the telling thing. The Browns had the ball 33-03, and slightly under, we had San Fran with 26-57. So what they did was they dominated the game by having the ball. They didn't give San Fran the time to execute a large game. Now, San Francisco 49ers had, I think, an average of 30 points each game and is one of the highest averages in the league. So this is a huge upset. San Fran now is one of the teams that was undefeated and now has 1 loss. Here's the other part that was really strange. The other undefeated team, anybody know who the other one was? If you're a football fan, you would. So we're looking at, let's look here. What's coming up next week? So we're in week 6. We are looking at the Vikings against the Bears. Let's hit that first. All right. The Eagles, though, the Eagles have kind of somehow just won each week. Not by huge margins. And this is the first time that they were really challenged. And what's wild is the real underdog, the Jets, who were deemed to be done for the year, actually beat them, which is wild, right? If you think about it. And the Jets fans now have rejuvenated their faith, even though they lost Aaron. And Aaron Rodgers, is walking around now without his crutches. He's been throwing the ball. There's looking like there's a chance that in week, say, 12 or 14, that he could come back during the playoffs. And with that division, if they end up even winning half the games, they will end up having a great chance of having a wild card spot. This also puts a new light on the Cowboys, who went through absolute torture. They were talking about firing everyone because they had lost 2 games. It's now a whole different playing field, and I think everybody's learning, the different, imperfections of teams when they have a roster that is now half of the players are injured. Here is a team, for some reason, that finds ways to win that doesn't necessarily always deserve to win, and it's the Eagles. And the 49ers were both that way this year. Didn't play their best games, but had enough weapons that they were able to do very well. Let me see here what I should do. I should put up the chat. Okay, I don't need the overlay. All right. We have currently the Jets fans reignited, and they're very, very excited about next week. The great thing about the schedule with the Jets is it's going to be easier. The opponents are not as bad. The other thing people forget is the Jets were very close to, within a score, right? Overtaking the Chiefs. That was an incredibly close game. And I think they gained a lot of respect. I think they're also not as worried as they were at one point. So if you look at the statistical data of the last game, so if we look here, this was not Jalen Hurts' best game, which we all know, but he still had 28 of 45 attempts for 280 yards, 1 TD, and 3 interceptions, and that's what got him. Zach Wilson, on the other hand, was 19 for 33 and had 186 yards. Jalen Hurts had 8 carries for 47 yards and 1 TD, which is pretty par for him. Here is the biggest difference in the whole game. Breece Hall literally carried the team. He had 12 carries for 39 yards and 1 TD, and that's all they needed. The other part of this was every time they had an opportunity, the kicking team came through. And that was not the case for the 49ers. So there were a lot of teams that would have won even if their kickers had been 100%. And we're talking not long kicks. There are so many people now within the league that can almost be guaranteed. If it's 40 yards, they got it. If it's over 50, the odds are still, I would say, 70% that they're going to have execution of what they want. Now, A.J. Brown has been on fire for weeks. He had 7 receptions and 131 yards, which is a little bit lower production than usual. And that just goes to show you how effective the New York Giants and the Jets. See, the New York Giants yesterday were phenomenal as well for them. That was probably their best game. And the New York Jets, that was probably one of their best games. And yet, so many people have been saying that New York has been cursed, both teams, for their starts. It looks like you can't really judge the season by only 6 outings. And we're not even at the halfway point. So let's have a quick look here. Here's what the stats that I enjoy the most. So the total yards for Philadelphia was 348. The Jets were 244. The passing yards for Philadelphia were 268, and the Jets only 155. Rushing yards were 80 for Philly and 89 for the Jets. Here's the thing. 5.0 yards per play for Philly and 4.1 with the Jets. If you look at every statistic, the Jets didn't do as well as Philly, but still found a way to win. And that is very common. Kind of crazy. Here's the biggest difference. There were no interceptions thrown by the Jets. Zero. Possession time was almost identical. 30 minutes and 44 seconds for Philly and 29 and 16 seconds for the New York Jets. So comes down to a lot of times to sacks. Now, here's the thing. Zach is not going to survive the year if he keeps getting hit 5 times. It's crazy how many times he gets hit a game. He's very resilient, unlike Aaron Rodgers, who I think I think he lasted 4 plays before he got hurt, and that's the problem when you've been in the league for 19 years. So I believe that the Jets will at least have a 500 record, and there's a good chance that they could have quite a few wins in the next week. So let's have a quick look here. Let's see if I can share this screen with you as well. Okay. Let's go here and put her up. Learning this. This is what we're using right now is an app called Restream. And if you use the app with only 2 feeds, it is free. If you use it for more than 2 feeds, I believe it runs somewhere between $15 and $20 a month. If you're a company, it's more than that. But I have to say, the stability of the app for being a web-based app is phenomenal. Okay, so let's have a look here what we've got. So in week 7, I would love to do a few predictions with you here. We did them last night very quickly. We're exhausted. We didn't have the time or the energy to do it, so we decided that we would just write them down. And we're kind of having a very friendly competition between the 3 of us and sometimes the 4 of us. And we didn't agree on most of the games, which was funny. But there were certain games that we did. So week 7, on Thursday, we've got the Jaguars and the Saints. And with the injuries, it's anybody's game. It's not looking good for the Jaguars right now. They have so many injuries. I went with the Saints because I think the Saints are an undervalued asset. Now, the other game we have is Sunday, and it's between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, for those who don't know, is one of my favorite quarterbacks. They did lose yesterday, but they're playing the Falcons, and the Falcons have not shown that they are consistent, where I think the Buccaneers will win this game, but not by a large margin. It'll be very tight. This is probably one of the harder games to predict between the Browns and the Colts. The Colts recently, offensively, are on fire. They're doing unbelievable. The Browns, as we saw, are controlling many teams with their defense. I'm going to say the Colts by less than 7 points on that game. And that's on Sunday at 1 o'clock. The next game that I would love to tackle here is we've got the Raiders against the Bears. I'm feeling like the Bears are due for another win. The Raiders are a very physical team. I don't know if that's going to make a big difference. So I'm going to go with the Bears by a very slim margin. Plus, I can guarantee you that the Raiders are in favor of winning in the odds. So even if you're close, you'll probably win with the Bears. So I'm going to go with the Bears. And that's what I said last night. The next game is the Commanders against the Giants. And the Commanders, I think, are a very undervalued asset. I think they're doing a lot of things right. Um, they have moments where the wheels fall off the wagon. I've noticed that. But against the Giants, I think they have a very good chance of winning. And I guarantee you the odds say that. So I would go with them. And that's also on Sunday. This one is a very difficult game. The Lions, who are almost, unbeatable lately. They've only lost one game. And they're in the midst of not many teams. I believe it's 5 teams that have only lost one game. The Ravens, though, I think have the ability to beat the Lions. Um, I'm going to go with the Ravens. This is more of just an intuitive feel, I think, that the Ravens got it. They've got Lamar Jackson, and if everything fires well, they should do well. The one thing about the Lions is they always have the ability to, whatever the roster is, to find a way to win. And not many teams have that. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, even though I'm a huge fan of the Lions. The next game should be pretty simple. You would think so, but you can't underestimate the Patriots. The Patriots have a great defense. The Bills, if anything, are very inconsistent, but incredibly stacked roster. They, like everybody else, is had all kinds of injuries. But I think the Bills will pull this off. I think Josh Allen is due for a big game. He did okay yesterday. So I'm going to say the Bills will easily win this. That's also on Sunday. And I'm thinking by as much as 2 scores. This one here, the Cardinals, you never know. Even though the Cardinals have only won one game this year, they've been incredibly close in every game they've been in. And don't forget, they beat the Cowboys. The Seahawks have such an incredible roster of young talent, and they are incredibly well coached. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks by a small margin, and that's also on Sunday. The Steelers and the Rams, this one is really tough. The Steelers, if they fire on all cylinders, they can do incredibly well just with defense. They have the ability to, I would say, dismantle any other opponent. But the Rams recently have been offensively unbelievable with all the weapons that they have. So I'm thinking the Rams take this by a small margin. I would say of maybe 3 to 6 points on that. This one is one we debated last night and we laughed and the Chargers have always been deemed one of the greatest opponents for the Chiefs. I think the Chargers will come to be a little short in this game in the sense of maybe one field goal or one score. The Chiefs, even though they're not playing their best football, I really believe that they can beat the Chargers and they will be prepared. This is one of their opponents that they always seem to find a way to beat them, which is phenomenal. The other thing that was really wild yesterday is that it is the very first time that New York Jets have beaten Philadelphia in 12 games. That's incredible. So, and they did it without Aaron Rodgers, and they did it with Zach Wilson. And it's nice. The crowd now is cheering for Zach, where a couple of weeks ago they were booing him and everything else. So it's nice to see that the Jets have found a way to win, even though they don't have all the pieces that they were supposed to have. The Cheeseheads, which is the Packers and the Broncos. The Broncos are really struggling this year, which everybody knows. Broncos also have a great defense. They have good coaching. There's just internal turmoil for some reason. Jordan Love has been playing okay, but not great. The Packers have a phenomenal offensive line, and they have a good defense. I think the Packers will take this, maybe by a score. That should be a pretty easy pick unless there's a massive upset. This may be one of the biggest games of the year, this next one. The Dolphins, which are the speedsters who have all the track stars, the fastest people in the NFL, four of them are on the Dolphins, and they have the ability to beat you offensively. They're not the greatest team defensively. The one thing about the Eagles, though, is the Eagles are one of the best, I would say, complete teams, and probably will go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, many people believe it still will be the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. It will be a repeat of what happened last year. I don't share that opinion. I believe that the Dolphins have a very strong chance, if they stay healthy, of being in the final. So we'll see. And the last game, which should be pretty easy contest for the 49ers, is against the Vikings. And that game is on Monday, October 23rd. The rumors of Kirk Cousins being traded seem to be calming down. He would be an incredible asset for so many teams. Number one, I would say, would be, of course, the Jets. We have some serious banging going on. I don't know if you can hear that. So those are my predictions for week 7. And I think I got them all. I'm just going to quickly look through here again. And I think I did. I think I did every single one. So tell me what your predictions are for the week. I would love that. We have Richard. Hi, Richard. How you doing? The New York Jets did have 4 takeaways from the Eagles yesterday. That was the major. You know what, though? The Jets just didn't, sorry, Richard, didn't feel like they should win. Would you like to be invited up? Here, let's see. This would be easier. Let's see if I can do this for you here. I'll give you the link. Be patient with me here. This is fairly new for me. All right, so copy that. I'll put it in the chat for you. Paste. There you go. I don't know if you're available to come up. Okay, show. There it is. Okay. So hopefully we'll see Richard. Richard does a show I think it's almost every morning, and you can find it on Twitch. Now, the thing I've noticed most, Richard, with this system is it does phenomenal with the Twitter. And Twitter is not an easy beast. There he is. There he is. Look at that. Forever ready now. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right.
I can hear you.
I'm just finishing up lunch here and stuff. And Michael, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be on your broadcast. I caught you, but I was taking care of something with the house here as far as setting up a contractor to look at some electrical here and stuff like that. And
you can tell you're close to retirement because you're doing those kind of things. You have that time.
What do you mean close? I've been retired for 6 months.
You know what I mean. It's a new threshold for you.
Yeah. No, right? No, it's just I just have more time to do that stuff. But
yeah.
I caught this morning. I caught your broadcast from last night, and fantastic. Thank you.
You liked it?
Oh God, yeah. I watched. I got up at about 1:15, and I always look at what's going on the overnight, and I just okay, blah blah blah. I saw you with the gang there, like, oh, I got to listen to this. So I listened to the first hour before my morning broadcast this morning, and I finished it. And
I couldn't put it on YouTube because we had actual clips.
You know, when you started doing the clips, I'd say, I hope he doesn't keep it on YouTube.
So I made it private, and then what I'll do is I'll dissect it, cut it up,
smart
and
choice.
use them. Yeah. So
Yeah,
tell
it's
me,
fun.
Richard,
Yes, yes.
what you're trying to tell me here in the comments about.
Well, I think you got the big factor. You know, I had the feel. What's that? Oh, the missus is saying stop yelling. I guess I'm talking too loud. She's letting me down. I have a bad habit. I got a bad ear, but
Yeah.
um, the game, I was really surprised, but I was really happy for the Jets. I thought the Eagles were going to win, you know, as far as that
Yes.
goes. And but a first win over the Philadelphia Eagles in their history. I was like, really, they never beat them before, like you said. But there was four major takeaways by the defense, and you all talked about that last night on your
Yeah.
broadcast last night about the defense. Question is, if they didn't have those four takeaways, you know that seems to be the demise of the Buffalo Bills I've seen of late. If you know Josh Allen, he had one interception this last game, this past yesterday, and they had some problems. They I didn't realize
They
how.
have internal problems there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
there's personality. I don't think it's
I'm
talent.
sorry. You know, you're saying that before, and I think it has to do with their receivers. It's one receiver in
Yeah.
particular because I'm seeing before I fell asleep on the couch. I didn't go to bed last night. I fell asleep on the couch last night to the game, but I could see it in one person in particular.
Mhm.
And you brought up a point on your broadcast last night. A receiver left. It might have been from Kansas City because he was trying to be the big boss of the team,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
and
Tyreek Hill.
I'm
Tyreek
start,
Hill.
and I'm
Yeah.
starting to understand what you mean by internal. You know, it's just like I don't really go that deep as far as
Mhm.
dissecting the team and stuff like that. But it's an
Andy Reid said it broke my heart to let him go, but he
right.
was trying to run everything. And
You
I
got to
can't
know.
have one guy try to run the show.
You got to know your place.
And he said he just didn't know his place.
Yeah, yeah, and that. So it's time for them to move on. No, it doesn't matter how good they are and stuff like that. If you can't conform to the and I think that's what's like you said. I can see it now. I'm seeing a lot clearer after watching your broadcast, which was good. I think
What
that
what, what did you like about it?
just you getting back. I always enjoyed your broadcasts. I think you have something to contribute.
Yeah.
Uh, it's it was just refreshing to see you back because our previous platform that was all our element for a while, and then it
Hmm.
imploded. But we're able to dust things off and find another way. And last night, I agree with you; it was almost Haps like as far
Yeah,
as that goes.
it really
And
was.
I'm glad you have the time and stuff like that. As
Do you
far as
have time right now?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just
Okay,
I
for
just
a couple
finished.
minutes.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. I've already done my picks, but I would love to know, and we can kind of go through them
Oh,
together.
is this for next week?
Yeah, and we did them
Okay.
last night. We sent
Well, I haven't done next week's picks because I still have to dissect, and I got your picks. Tony D sent me a, um, a DM this morning after my broadcast of your picks, Ted's picks, and
Brian's.
Brian's for
Yeah,
this
Brian
past.
is the one who actually wrote all the picks
Okay,
down. Yeah.
was that was for this past week, right?
No, for this one coming up.
Oh, that's why there's okay because I was wondering. It's like Green Bay
Yeah.
and okay, that's for next week. Okay, is there okay? I'll have to
Now
relook.
these don't have to be official if you don't want
No,
to.
no, 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 no.
But I'm just
I'll get back with you and stuff because let me see if I can bring that up because I started plugging it in my sheet for this last week, so that's
yeah.
next week's because I didn't get Brian's last week's.
Yeah,
So I'll have to update that.
he sent those to you as well. Maybe he didn't send you the
No,
sheet.
he didn't. Yeah, he didn't send me. I think I took it from Tony that was these past weeks. That's the upcoming weeks
Right.
because Ted doesn't have Twitter or X/Twitter anymore for some reason. He has some issues with it, so he usually posts
Well,
his picks.
he got banned, he said. So
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I think that was a while ago.
Yeah, I just wanted to leave it. I didn't. I'm not sure what it.
So
But yeah,
the first game, which is Thursday, well, maybe we'll just address that one. So we've got the Jaguars, and I
let,
don't know if you know this.
let me bring up
Um,
this. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll
okay,
bring up
you bring
you.
your
Yeah, you're using NFL scores, so that's which is a great page.
yeah.
Okay, let's see what we have here. So I'm gonna have to watch. what are we on time here? What time mark are you at? Um,
Right now it's
oh,
1
30
o'clock.
minutes. Okay. No, I'm just saying 30 minutes. So I've been on for 5. So I'll have to watch the first. I just look as far as watching the replay of what you've done so far.
Okay, so you can look at it later.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
for me, I found this game really difficult because the Jaguars right now are very banged up. The Saints are starting to get some momentum. They're
are they?
showing,
Yeah, they.
yeah.
I don't know. After this weekend, I'm sort of starting to question the
Well,
Saints.
that's what they do. They have one good game and they have one bad game. And
Yeah, the
the Saints,
Jaguars.
are who what I, is what I picked. I think the favorite will be the Jaguars, but his knee is bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Trevor Lawrence hurt
yeah.
his knee at the end of the game. Did you see or hear about that?
No, he's got a bad. No, see, I don't go that. Like again, I don't really unless I hear it from Tony or
Hmm.
Ted, and if I see a flash on the headlines or something like that. But Jaguars, that's Thursday night, and that's down in New Orleans, and New Orleans is hungry for a win. So I might have to go with the Saints again. I've been on the Saints bandwagon. So,
Yeah,
but the Jaguars, I don't know. They've got a newfound respect as far as I'm concerned. As far
yeah,
as
they're good, but they're nothing without him. Without Trevor.
true, true.
Yeah,
So
they. Uh, yeah, but I don't want to sway. I don't want to sway what you're doing.
no, no. I would. I probably. This is actually earlier. I don't usually make my picks until like Wednesday or Thursday morning and stuff.
Well,
But
you can change them. I'm just
yeah,
curious.
yeah.
So we'll just do it on the one game, and we're both saying the Colts.
No, I could tell you. I would probably take the Saints and Falcons and Buccaneers. Falcons. They're another team that's surprising me as far as.
They're inconsistent though.
But so are the Bucks. So that's going to be an interesting game
Yeah.
there. That's a toss up right there. I couldn't really. Um,
So for me, because Baker Mayfield had a rough time.
right.
But that there are teams that are better than them. Like when that they just are. The Lions right now are a beast,
Oh God, yes.
right? So they lost and they weren't blown out, right?
No,
Only 20-6.
right.
But they basically shut down Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield. They didn't give him enough time.
But is Mayfield? He's not injured, is he?
No, he's great, but the problem was he needs that extra second, and
Yeah.
because he wasn't getting that extra second because of the pressure,
Right.
he was overthrowing. He was, and I'm talking like 12 inches.
Okay.
On, on
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
like he was throwing these 40-yard bombs
yeah.
and missing by a stride, or it could be just they and with another team that guy would have that stride.
Right, 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 right.
Uh,
I'm looking last. Oh, this Sunday, Atlanta lost, didn't they? How come I thought they won? Atlanta lost to the Commanders.
Yes, the Commanders, though, are another team that are incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah,
24-16.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And that game was wild.
yeah.
Uh,
So in the this next week, I would just go on a limb, knowing the Falcons lost and they're inconsistent, but I like the
can,
Bucks.
can I just show you a statistic here? This
Yeah,
is
go
the
ahead.
things that kill me, okay? The the total yards that the Falcons got were 402.
Okay,
All right.
okay, that's passing from rushing. Yeah,
Yeah, but the Commanders only got 193.
yeah. That's
Passing,
efficient.
look at this.
Yeah,
Passing 121 for Commanders, 296 for the Falcons.
I see. Yeah, they're not. You
It,
would
it,
figure that on those stats alone, the
if you
Falcons.
looked at that, you would say, oh, for sure the Falcons won
Yeah,
if you didn't know the full dance card.
yeah.
And now most games are being won by better kickers.
Oh, kicking. Yeah, there's. I didn't see. There was an article I wanted to read this morning, and I put it off to the side.
49ers lost because of the kicker.
Kickers, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're being a factor and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But as I would pick the Bucks though. I like Baker Mayfield. I want to see him succeed. There it is a home game, so that's a factor. So
Yeah.
I would on that game I would probably and Falcons they're sort of iffy. Commanders beat them, which is another iffy team, and I think the Bucks they're going to be at home, so they. I would pick the Bucks on that one, and then
And I did as well.
yeah,
Yeah. Now the next one's a weird game.
Raiders and Bears.
Yeah.
I'd say the Raiders. I think even going into Chicago, I think the Raiders. Well, hold up, Garoppolo, is he injured?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's
guess what? Yeah.
ooh.
And guess who else has a bad finger?
Oh, the young guy from
You got
Chicago.
it. Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but yeah, he's
Fields. I'm helping you.
who's that?
His last name's Fields.
Fields, yeah, the quarterback there. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does have an interest. Oh God, that's going to be interesting. Ooh, that could be anybody's take. Playing in Chicago.
Yeah.
Wow, that's another toss up. That's more of a toss up
Played
than
at Soldier Field. So
yep, yeah. New, I would still. My gut feeling would be just I like the Raiders.
yeah.
And I would still pick the Raiders probably on that game.
I went with the Bears because the
Did you?
Bears are due for another win. And that's
Yeah.
how you almost have to figure out the Steelers are the same way.
Yep. Yep.
Sometimes when the Steelers have a really horrible game or a close game, they come out like wildfire.
Right.
Because I think sometimes you need that fuel, the
Right.
anchor.
Right.
And so you want to the next game is really tough, I think. The
Yeah,
Browns
we
and
can,
the
we can go.
Colts.
On that one, Browns. I was watching the games I was watching. I was bouncing between the Browns and Cincinnati,
Yeah.
and I was just surprised at that win. That was a big win for the Browns yesterday. So, but they're at home. I'm gonna stick with the Colts. I'm gonna stick with the Colts as
Now,
far as
why the Colts?
I think they have a good team.
Hmm.
But then again, I don't know. Now that I say that, the Browns.
The Colts have so many weapons.
They
They
they they
really do.
they're better this year than they have years in past,
Yeah.
and plus they're at home. It's so let's see, the only one oh Raiders they're visiting. So I would
I bet the odds on that are tight.
yeah, because the Browns they're on
They're on
paper
fire. They're on fire
they're
right now.
supposed to be a good team. Yeah, they're a good team. They started out
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. That's another team that's starting to they're not down in the dumps like my Giants. The Giants are a bunch of bums. It's like,
Yeah, but even the Giants played well yesterday.
well, that was it.
They played
What
well yesterday. They
with
really
all the
did.
games I played yesterday, there was one commentary there, or did I listen? Did Ted say it? Yeah, I think Ted said it on your broadcast last night. There was a lot of sloppy play across because I had
Oh,
I
a
watched it.
lot of games. A lot of games were
I watched the
sloppy.
two games on the TV here, and I
Yeah.
also have the laptop here. I have that on NFL channel, so I get an overview of all the games going on. And from what I was seeing from NFL Network,
Yeah.
I mean, the scores, and I'm like, it's all
But
sloppy play.
but look at this. There's no shame in this. Buffalo Bills are a top tier team, okay? New York is the bottom of the barrel right now.
Yeah. Well, they
It
had that new quarterback last night too.
right, which made a
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah. Oh
We're
yeah.
only talking a variation of 5 points here. And if
Right.
you look again, if you look at the team stats, I'm going to read them off to you here.
Yeah.
New York had total yards of 317,
Uh-huh.
the Bills 297.
Yeah.
Passing yards, New York had 185, the Bills had 169.
Yeah.
Rushing yards, 132 for New York,
Yeah.
128.
Our,
Again, the only statistic that the Bills won on was the yards per play.
right. And then I think there was one interception by Josh Allen. He had one interception, or if he had more,
You're
I don't know.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
And
and
one
when I saw
fumble.
that I fell asleep after that, but I didn't realize
Yeah.
it went down to the last minute for them to win that game.
Here's the other thing that I'm noticing with these really low scoring games. The possession time is usually very tight. So you're looking at
Oh,
31-24 for New
yeah,
York. They had the ball, and Buffalo had it for 28 thirty
right,
six.
right.
Now,
I
a lot of the
just
games that I analyzed, they were like literally 29-30.
right,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I've just seen the comments here on the restream. Tony checked in here about a few
checking
minutes
in,
ago.
check,
Yeah,
check, check.
check in.
Is Tony at home today or is he working?
He didn't say on my broadcast. I mean, he's. I just know he's taking care of real world stuff. So I just you know,
Well, you've got the link there, Tony. If you change your mind, it's right
yeah.
above. You should be able to see it.
I don't know if he was here. I just saw the most recent comment here at 13:03, but it's an interesting dynamics that's developing here after week 6, as far as I'm as much as I'll be honest with you, I was a little resistant when we talked about all the turmoil and stuff like that. I didn't really see. I saw it after yesterday. I'm saying I'm looking at the footage that they show on the sideline. That footage is gold because you can tell how the team is from all the players' nonverbal and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
body language, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, the body language, nonverbal, and stuff
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
being
So,
a fireman, you'd have to be really good at that. Being able to see, what's going on with people just by their
well,
faces.
yeah, on an emergency services
Yeah.
aspect for
Yeah.
the first state, still moving, belong. Okay, so he's in a moving state. Tony D just said. So he's
Okay.
that.
Well, he was great last night.
I
He
know he
that
was.
was
He was.
he
He
was
was on the.
sleeping near the end, but he did well.
Yeah,
He was 10 hours of moving. I've done
yeah,
that. It's
yeah, yeah.
I the last thing I would have been doing is
I
broadcasting.
do not miss that at all. The number of moves I made during the military. So
Mhm.
and our last one was probably the best one because we knew we were going to stay put for a while, and it's been longer than a while and whatnot. So, but
So,
the broadcast, and I told Tony this morning. He was in the chat on my morning coffee broadcast there at
yeah.
Twitch. Um, that would be and I'll tell you, I guess, because I no, I tweeted it. I DM'd him afterwards. I said what you did last night. That would be a good slot for you to bring in. Even myself, if as far
Of
as
course. Of
to
course. Yeah.
commentate after the games and stuff, even with the late night Sunday night game going and stuff like that, because I think it's a and I think Tony agreed as far as that was what. And you had Ted there, you had Brian,
Mhm.
very knowledgeable. Brian, especially, very knowledgeable on sports
Yes.
stuff like that. And I just think it was a good. I'm just a knucklehead that's just talking off his.
But we've talked about this before. Every energy,
Yeah,
right? Like every personality
yeah,
will draw a different type of person.
yeah,
So, and a lot of people don't really care how much knowledge you have. It's more about if you're engaging
yeah.
and you're fun to watch.
Right.
Like, we're watching Taylor Swift in the stands.
Uh,
I guarantee her knowledge is not through the roof,
no.
but she has an energy and a following that is beyond, I would say, the NFL right now.
Well, now that you mentioned her name, I think she
Yeah.
was missing this weekend. I don't see the hoopla. I think people are getting used to the fact, okay, she's going to football. Well, they did her and uh, Kelsey there,
Travis.
Travis
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
They were at Saturday Night Live. If you still, I don't
Yeah, and
watch
they're
it.
holding hands so that
Yeah. Well, they're
it's
a
more.
couple. They're going to hold hands. So big deal. They're holding hands.
Well, before it was all speculation, and then they
Yeah,
were doing it as a
it's their
publicity stunt,
yeah,
and he even
yeah,
said that as a joke.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
he'd also say things, I thought I was on top of the world when I won the Super Bowl,
yeah.
but now I find that I'm at another level.
Well, I think I haven't seen. Seen skirts of him and his brother. They have a
I
show, and
love that show.
I think they do a podcast
New
too.
Heights.
Yeah,
New
and I think
Heights.
he's probably realizing what his brother's telling him because he has a good life as far as once he has a good family and all that, and maybe Travis is seeing that. It's like and it is a different different dimension when settle down with a partner in life and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
Well, and I think is it on Netflix? The Kelseys, where they
yeah,
show.
it's either,
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
and it's great. It just
yeah,
goes to show you.
yeah.
I love the series that they had about the quarterbacks. You
Okay,
you
yeah, yeah,
you got
yeah,
to see all the stresses they went through,
yeah,
and do you want to
yeah.
go? So, Commanders or Giants? We're going back.
I'm gonna stop.
You know what we'll call ourselves? The OCD twins.
No. I'm going. I have to stick. I vary from the Jets. I might change that. I don't know who they're playing next week, but I'm going to stick
Mhm.
with the Giants. I'm
Okay.
sticking with the
Good.
Giants as far as I'm faithful in the Giants and the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
The
Then,
Jets, I think after Aaron, but I have after yesterday's win,
yeah.
and I think I said something yesterday. I was broadcasting yesterday morning in Tony's spot because he was busy. So I just went ahead and did an hour broad. Nobody was there and stuff, but I remember
Right.
mentioning that the difference in that game is if the Jets get some takeaways, and sure enough, they had the takeaways in their defense, and I think that Tony mentioned a defense on the Jets.
Right.
I got it's like the Detroit Lions. They were just fun. They're not. They have a good defense, and their offensive line
They find ways to win.
Exactly, and I think that's what it comes down to. That with the even with the Giants, but the Jets, that was let's just say that was a massive one. And I think you said, well, Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing. He was there on the sideline there, so he was part of the team. He's still part of the team.
He's part of the energy.
I heard that he was throwing a few balls there on the sideline before the game and stuff like that. So he's right there, and that's got to be. And I think you mentioned it. He's probably a big inspiration to a lot of these players to say,
especially
hey,
Zach. I think Zach, he's a grounding effect.
He is better this year than I have seen in the last couple of years.
I think he makes Zach feel like he can do it.
And the sideline thing, like I was saying, there's some pictures of him, and he's talking to other players, but he's talking, and he has that expression of confidence, even if we're down.
He's a born leader. He's a born leader for sure.
Yeah, it's coming out now. So, but the Commanders, I got to take the Giants. I can't go. The last time I really liked the Washington team, Riggins was still the running back.
Yeah,
I loved watching Riggins.
I remember that. That's a long time ago.
Okay,
that's a long time ago. So the Lions.
Lions
and the Ravens Ravens.
I think the Ravens they had a big win yesterday because the Titans were favored to win that game, and I was just surprised. Lamar Jackson he stepped it up yesterday.
He's amazing.
Yes, he is. He is.
And Flowers was good. Zay Flowers came through.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
The one thing I like about the Lions is I love watching that coach on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's a coach right there, as far as
he was a player,
and then
you know that, right?
Yeah. Just on their quarterback, because I was surprised when he left the Rams to go to China. I'm going, what the heck is going on with that? Really? Because he just won a Super Bowl, didn't he? Or was it a year or season afterwards, maybe? Anyway, it just I was just really surprised, but I think he's found his element there with the Lions.
I think he's in one of those guys that he'll have influence over them for a few years.
Oh yeah.
And he'll find a way, but they only lost one game.
Exactly. Yeah. They're what's their standings there? They're in the
5-1.
Yeah, 5-1. And you were talking about that on your show last night. There's 5 teams that are 5-1, so there's a number right there as far as that goes.
Yeah. Do you know who they lost to?
Who what?
The Lions lost to the Seahawks.
Okay, what's the Seahawks?
September 17th.
Okay.
In overtime.
Okay. And that was
and then from that point on, they pretty much beat everybody.
Yeah, they got a 5-1 percentage.
So September 24th, they beat the Falcons 20-6.
They've been on a 3-game winning streak since then.
Yeah, they beat the Packers by 34-20.
Yeah, the big win.
They beat the Panthers 42-24. And then yesterday in a somewhat of a nail biter. Because, like if you had someone like Mahomes, on any team, that score probably would have been more 14.
Oh, okay,
instead of 6. And don't get me wrong, Baker Mayfield is a good middle tier quarterback. And what I mean by middle tier is probably 15, 16, somewhere in that range.
Right. Yeah.
So who are you picking?
Which game are we on now? Here, I'm looking. I lost my.
The
Lions. Picking the Lions.
I'm taking the Ravens.
You're gonna take the Ravens, and Ravens could, because that's home. Ravens are usually tough at home. The next one, without a doubt, Bills. I'm sticking with the Bills. I don't think if the Patriots
No,
win, you think the Patriots might come back on that
no,
or win?
I know. I would not bet my life on that one.
Oh, you
And
wouldn't
and
take the
and
Bills? You're not taking the Bills?
oh, I would take the Bills because
Okay.
the Bills. I don't know if you know this. The Bills are my favorite team,
Yeah.
and yet I don't talk about them very much
No,
because
I know that. I know
they
that.
they frustrate me.
Okay, that's why. Okay.
I,
Okay.
I and I've done shows where I've said the
Yeah.
only way Josh Allen's going to win a Super Bowl is when he leaves the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they don't have the chemistry right now. The
It's
Cardinals
sort
can go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying the Bills right now, it's almost like it's sort of like that Jim Kelly era when they went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row.
He is very much like him. You're
Yeah.
right. Even the
Yeah.
way he scrambles. He's
Oh
a
yeah.
little he's a little more elegant when he does it. Cardinals can beat anybody, but they're not going to beat the Seahawks.
Not at home. Seahawks, I always say this, the Seahawks, I'm surprised what's their record? Um, what are the Seahawks? They're in the American League, right? Yeah, the American football. Seahawks. Where are they? The Seahawks in the National League or National?
Here, I can help you with this.
Yeah, I'm just where are they in the stand? Oh, there they are. They're behind. Okay, the San Francisco. They're 3-2. I'm really surprised with some of their losses and stuff like that. So um, they got a great coach. I don't know. He may have one more season of coaching, I think, or 2 years because he was throwing a football around also before the game yesterday. A guy
Yeah.
his age, he was tossing the football, and
Well,
and
you never lose it. You never lose it. You know that. It's
he
just
has so much he has
not
so
as
much
much Ziv.
energy. Yeah, he has so
Not
much
as much
energy.
Ziv. Yeah.
And the Seahawks, I say they're always tough at home because that crowd is probably one of the best fan bases. So I'm picking the Seahawks to win that game. That's another home time um, for Seattle as far as Seattle. What do you think? Cardinals very well. They could now. Cardinals, they're a team that they're really tough at home. I'm really surprised about their win over Dallas.
I'm
That was a
not.
mess. You're not?
I'm not. No, because the Cardinals are like the Bears. The Bears can beat anybody one week,
Okay.
right? And the
Right.
Browns can beat anybody one
Right.
week.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing about this year. And even the analysts who have been doing this and made their living for the last 20 years are going, we are learning the teams. And the problem is the teams that we're seeing right now, we're looking at second tier because everybody's injured.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like they were talking about three corners that were on Detroit are out. Three.
Right. Uh-huh.
And people don't know about the dynamic of the defense. They can't name three players unless it's their team. But if you follow the teams, you can see there's big holes when you lose key players.
Right. Right.
So the next one, we're up the Cardinals. So we both said Seahawks. The next one is a really cool game. Steelers and Rams. That's a Sunday game. Who do you think there?
Ooh. I like both teams.
Yeah, I picked the Steelers on that
I,
one.
I'm thinking. I think the Rams might win that game. They have
Yeah,
but I got a gut feeling Steelers. The Steelers.
yeah,
They may or may not go. There's a possibility of them
they're
going to the
tough.
playoffs,
They're
but they
tough.
are tough, and I think
Yeah,
they're playing some good ball. So I'm taking the Steelers on that one right now. It's
but the
just
Rams right now, and you know this, are on a real high in the sense of I would say offense. The O is great. The
yeah,
D is not so good. The Steelers can beat you just with their defense.
right,
Their offense is it's okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. So these teams in many ways are evenly matched.
They are, and they're both teams they've got a lot of the young players too, especially the Rams. Their whole team is just a whole bunch of young players, as far as I
Yeah,
got. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Same with the Saints.
Yeah.
The Saints are all young kids. Same with
Yeah.
the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
And if you look at the next game, this is the game where we had the most fun. That we people were not. Brian
Okay.
won. Brian picked the Chargers, and Tony and I picked the Chiefs on this one.
Ted and you. Yeah, Ted. Because I'm looking at the list right now. That list, it was Ted's picks here. I'm looking at it right
I
now.
think Tony and I must have talked about it earlier, but he said the Chiefs were going to win.
Right. Yeah. So this list is for next week. Okay, so I have to go back because I updated. I plugged you in for this week and stuff. That's next week picks. Okay, that's
so. Was I right? Was it Brian for? What did Brian say? Brian took the Chargers.
Brian. He got Seahawks. He's got the Cardinals. And then, he picked the Chargers. Both you and Ted picked the Chiefs. And I would have to pick the Chiefs too. I don't think the Chargers, this is in Kansas City to boot also.
Yes.
So to me, and then again, if Kansas City, if they have that oops like they've had and Buffalo's had, Chargers can take advantage. It's just like the Jets took advantage yesterday of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Agreed.
The dynamics can change. So I'm with you and Ted with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs are, I think, still very in position to win again.
Yep,
which is rare.
They're going to the playoffs.
I think they'll be in the final. I really do.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything, but if Mahomes gets hurt, they're done.
Okay,
they're done. So Cheeseheads, we've got the Packers and the Broncos. I picked the Packers here. I believe I picked the Packers. Does it say that on the list?
Yes, yeah. I got the list. I just got to I went through that list, but I plugged your name and Brian's name, and I looked at a couple. I said, wait a minute, Ted gave me this team and this. I didn't realize it was for next week, so I got to straighten that out later, which is no big deal. Now that I know that was next week's list. On this game, I'm going to stick with the Broncos. I'm going to go down. I like Russell Wilson. I'm rooting for him.
Now, why? What is it about him that you like?
I think he's a good quarterback.
Okay.
The rest of the team, it's not just Russell Wilson. And then again, you brought up a point about the coach, which I didn't really fully understand. That I guess he can be a very, that's probably why he hasn't coached in a while, as after he left the Saints.
He's a tyrant.
Yeah.
It's my way or the highway. He has got skills.
Yeah.
But that is a highly fractured team and has been for a very long time.
It's probably because, and it comes back, if you have a good coach, like I said, that you look at Detroit, they've turned it around. But I think
he signed a 5-year contract.
Yeah, but we'll see. Russell Wilson's playing better than he did last year, but last year I've said
it's lighter, right? He lost 20 pounds.
Well, but last year he had his life mentor passed away.
Yeah.
Okay, so that has an impact on you. As much as you say no, it won't. Yeah.
I agree. No, I agree.
And as far as that goes, but I guess the Broncos is my charity team that I want to root for.
Will it be close? Will it be close?
No, I really think the first half.
I think the Packers will win by 7. You think it'll be like a field goal? You think it'll be a field goal?
I think it'll be a touchdown. I think you're right, but I'm going to pick the Broncos.
Okay,
because they're at home, and the Broncos, they might be able to get something together being at home. But then again, the first half is going to tell with the Broncos because they've gone into games where they're not going to, but they've held their own. And are they going to the playoffs? No, they're not going to the playoffs. But I think the Packers will win that. But I'm rooting for the.
How about the Packers? Will they make the playoffs? I think they will. I think they'll get a wild card.
I don't think they'll last. Yeah, they won't last the first round though. I don't think.
But I think they'll get a wild card spot. Here's the best game next week. Okay, or this week. Sorry, the Dolphins against the Eagles. To me, that is the most exciting game.
Two powerhouses, 2 5-1 teams.
Yeah.
That's going to be. I like the National Northeast, so I got to root for the Eagles. My kid brother when he was like he used to go.
Mm-hmm.
He used to go to at least one or two Dolphin games when he worked for the American Paralyzed Association down in
Yeah.
Queens, New York. He took trips down there as far as to watch. He's a diehard dog. He remember he Bob Greasy. You could say nothing wrong about Bob Greasy back in the day and the nickel defense and Nick Bonicani and all the old school Dolphins there and stuff. He loved the Dolphins.
So who picked the Dolphins? Was it Brian on the?
Dolphins, yeah. You and Ted picked the Eagles, and
He picked the
he picked the
Dolphins.
Dolphins. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, he could be right. He could be
Yeah,
right. I
but
think the
then again,
Eagles are going to be angry because they lost.
who did they lose to? They lost to the Bills.
Nope.
No, the Bill they beat. Who did they lose to?
New York.
The Jets.
First time, remember? No, we're talking right now the Eagles, right? The Jets beat the Eagles for the first time.
Yeah, but who did Miami lose to?
Miami didn't lose.
I thought they were 5-1.
Yeah, but they didn't lose yesterday.
No, who did Miami lose to though?
What wasn't it the Chiefs?
Okay, Chiefs. So this is going to be a matchup. Okay, I see what you're saying about Philly. Yeah, but this is going to be a matchup between two tough teams, to where the Eagles, I think, are, even though they're injured and battered,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still tough in the trenches.
Yeah.
Not
Actually, Rich, you're right. Now that I recall the old brain, it was the Bills that beat them. It was the Bills.
okay. The Bills
Yeah,
beat. Yeah, okay. That's
that
that.
is
You know
that
what?
is correct.
Okay, that was after that 70.
And they were so like,
Yeah, they thought. I think people thought that was going to be another run up, because they were the 70 point game they had a week
yes,
before with the
yeah,
Broncos,
you're absolutely
and
correct.
the Bills just deflated their balloon and brought them back to earth. And I think this is going to be another case of where they're going to meet a caliber team in the Eagles. Even though they're battered, they're still
Yeah.
standing strong. But this is going to be one of these. Whoever wins is definitely going to probably end up going to the Super Bowl. Maybe, I think.
Yeah, I still think the Eagles have a very good chance of winning.
Oh yeah, I do too. I think the Eagles, because Miami, they're. I'm not saying they're a flash in the pan, but if they have some, you look at some of the touchdowns they got, it's like, holy crap.
But the
they can play.
The 49ers, okay, also showed that they're human, and
Right.
they also have injuries.
Yep.
And that's the thing. We have, they call them sample sizes in the NFL. We've had a sample size of each team. We don't really know what's going to happen because, and I've said this earlier, it all depends on how deep your team goes. And I mean with talent and raw ability. And for those who are not stars to come up with the big plays in the big moments, right? That's football. It's messy. You said messy earlier, right?
Yeah. They played this past weekend. It was football, but it didn't really. I wasn't glued to the TV like I have been on.
So we got one more game, and then I got to go. So we've got the 49ers, and we got the Vikings.
My best judgment says the 49ers because they're tough, but this is gonna be my upset game. I was born in Minnesota.
Okay.
So my younger brother, he is a big time 49er fan, but that's because back in the day, we're talking back in the 70s and early 80s, he loved Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah.
And the Vikings back then were like the Buffalo Bills with Kelly there. They were disappointment going to the Super. The Vikings were the same thing. They went to Super Bowl, lost it. Went to Super Bowl, lost it. But he's a 49er fan now, my older brother. But I'm just going on gut that I have a sentimental value towards the Vikings.
Yeah.
It depends on what type of, and you said it before, the quarterback, their Cousins. What's going to happen with him?
He looked rocky.
Which one is going to show up?
He looked rocky yesterday.
Yeah.
He did not look. But you know what? It's easy to say that.
Yeah.
We don't have the people chasing us.
No, that's true. But I'm going to say I think the Vikings or the 49ers will win that. But that they're in Minnesota, That's going to be my upset. I'll probably lose, but I'll just it's just like the Broncos there. Those are my two sentimental upsets as far as that goes. So I wrote down my picks, so I already got my picks already. So I got it on my napkin here. So
we have it here. We have it on Twitter and we have it on YouTube. And this one I won't have to take down.
So you really like Restream, then I take it.
I like anything that I can use and it works on Twitter. I'm happy.
Yeah. The only thing about Twitter, the drawback, and this is the only platform other than those other ones that Tony's mentioned. I've used them. They don't go to Twitter. This is the only one that goes to Twitter. The only thing I don't like about it is you can't get the comments from Twitter unless you're in your situation. You got the blue check mark. Tony has the blue check mark. You can go ahead and comment on the broadcasts. The low lifes and ones that don't want to, people say they're cheap, but I just don't. It's
not worth it. It's not worth it for you.
Well, it's if
I get it. I totally understand.
$8, I can use that for something else as far as
like beer or something.
Well, no, not the beer fact. I'm actually drinking less beer now that I'm retired and stuff. So even more so. Yeah.
Less stress.
Oh God, it's been Michael, this past, when was it? Saturday was 6 months I have not worked, as far as I've been retired for 6 months now. And it's fantastic. It's great. There's people that have tried egging me. I don't pay attention to those people. Oh, you're going off the rocker. No, not if you keep yourself busy, engaged, and all that and stuff. And see, that's the thing. That's the one thing I miss about Twitter. You mentioned Tony. Tony had no clue of tweet. I love TweetDeck. That's
so what I can do here.
Yeah,
if I'm by myself, and let's say I'm doing a wide show, right? So I can look at my list here of great quotes. I can look at the people who.
And I appreciate you mentioned me last night as far as that goes. I thank you for that.
Yeah, and I did it as through the reminder of the notifications, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm looking at existential artist, and he's a philosopher of faith, research, advocacy, art, and infinity. He sounds like Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing with this format. If you get bored and you're like yourself, and you need something, you've got all this content in front of you.
Exactly. And that's the one thing about TweetDeck. I miss TweetDeck. I used to use Hootsuite, and then Hootsuite went to a paid service. You still could use TweetDeck, and I almost came down to paying that $8 because I love Tweet. But now what I'm doing on my Twitter is I'm using the list. I actually have you on a list along with Ted, Tony, and my friend Top Gold there, Bernie Goldbach, and you can only have like 6, but it works the same way. So because I'm always interested in what you do. As far as Tony,
can you see what's in the screen there enough to read it? I made it.
Maturity is when you stop asking people why they don't call or text you anymore. You just notice the change and accept it. No drama, no fights. That's cool. You just walk away with a smile. And then if those individuals decide to swing back your way and stuff like that, that's fine. That's that's a good life and stuff like that. I would agree with that. That's a good saying, maturity. So that means I'm mature. I'm not childish.
Not anymore. Do you want to promote yourself before we go?
Oh, I don't. You know how I am. I guess to accommodate you, I guess is Rich Roberts, Fireman Rich on all fine social media networks. I'm primarily my mainstay now. I used to say tweet on Twitter and all that. Now it's only /Twitter. I still say Twitter. Elon's not going to keep us from saying it and stuff like that. But I say
not X. Against the law. It's weird to say X.
That's why I just don't like saying X. I want to say X/Twitter. That's how I say it now.
I think that was a big mistake, him changing the brand. I don't know why he did that.
It's but we'll see what happens in the long run. I'm really anxious with him trying to bring back, and I think it might happen, not right away, but you've talked about it, the old Periscope and stuff, because the last broadcast he did, he spent, and I watched all 48 minutes of it. He was gaming on Diablo 5, and I couldn't believe the clarity. I'm like, wow. I think if he goes to that type of broadcasting, I probably would
Mhm.
pay the $8 a month.
You know
As
what
far
you and I should do? You pick, we can do it like once a month or once a week or something, but you pick 5 headlines that you wanna talk
Oh,
about,
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I talk about 5 headlines that I want,
yeah,
and we just discuss it as
yeah.
2 old guys and see what the varying opinions
Yeah,
would be.
that'd be good. That's something we could do together.
Ted Ted
My primary headlines like that, because where I'm at in my life and stuff,
Mhm.
it's going to be positive, good news and stuff.
Good.
Because
That's
that's I try to bring that to my broadcast,
yeah,
and there's a lot of good stories. A lot of space stuff going on. I don't know if you heard about the
yeah,
return
and
of the asteroid.
technology, good
Yeah,
technology.
technology and stuff like that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
that that'd be good. And with this format with Restream, you can bring people up like Ted Hicks or Brian for
yeah.
opinions and stuff like that. And I'm just I'm just very happy and glad that you are back up.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate
And
that.
you're in your element again, and it's good to see you. I got you. I get a bing. It's like, oh, Michael's on YouTube, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
um,
and my analytics told me that this was one of the best times for
okay,
YouTube for me to be on. So here's the weird thing. I was actually discussing this with my wife that it at 12
uh-huh,
is a peak time,
okay,
6
six
and,
o'clock.
and 11 at night. Those are my 3
Okay,
peak audience times. And it even breaks down who's watching and their age.
really?
Yes. And I have a vast amount of my audience
Uh-huh.
is is in the UK,
Okay. Yeah,
which is because of Habs.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, 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 and the time difference as far as going on and stuff like that. I love doing the mornings. I'm not going to be on tomorrow. No,
yeah.
Wednesday. I got a dental appointment. They're going to implant a tooth or get the prep do
Ooh,
the
good
prep
luck.
work.
Good luck.
No, it's something that it's been doing, because I have two teeth gone on this side, and it's not wise to have. And I don't. The technology's there, and it's like, okay, we'll go that route.
Hmm.
And you can afford to lose one tooth, but two teeth, then your mouth just starts to degrade over years and stuff like that. So, um, but I like doing the morning broadcasts. So I like, even if there's nobody there, if I get one or two people, I'm still the same as I was over on Haps. It's gotten a little bit better, I think, on Twitch. I'm on Twitch for those people, just to put that out there, at Fireman Rich on Twitch.
Hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I like doing the audio on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but tomorrow I'm doing Mixcloud. So I do both live stream audio and the music over on Mixcloud. And
Yeah.
so I really enjoy doing that. Some people say, well, you're retired, you should be doing more. No, I got a lot of other things I do. And the number one priority is to listen and be more attentive to the missus, which
Yes. We should
um,
we should do a show on
and
that.
she you can hear her in the background and stuff like that.
I
But I'm
heard it. I heard it earlier.
yeah, they like that, and I can, even 5 years ago I'd be going apeshit. Shh, quiet, quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the regulars that come into the chat, they like that, and they
Yeah.
say good morning. They're respectful, so it's no big deal there.
So where
Uh,
do we find you before we go? Because we have to
oh,
leave it.
at Twitch at Fireman Rich, and then over
Mhm.
on Truth Social, Instagram Threads, and X/Twitter at Fireman Rich.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
anybody who has been watching the broadcast today, please, if you can, put restream basically today. This was free because I only did 2 outlets, right? So
Would
if
you
you
do more? Where else would you broadcast to?
I'd probably go on Twitch, I might go on LinkedIn, I might
Third or
go
fourth? Okay.
yeah,
I
but
refer. Yeah, yeah,
the thing is that you run the risk of, though, and people don't realize this, is if you do 2, it's gonna be more stable. The more platforms you do, and we had the same
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
you're going to have more glitching. And I've had 0 glitching with this so far. And I
yeah.
love the ability to be able to screen share.
Screen share is fantastic on here.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
pretty seamless what I've seen so far,
Yeah.
and so far free.
Well, that's always a good thing. I
Yeah.
don't mind having this logo is not as intrusive. There was a platform EV Mux.
Yeah.
It's similar to this, but it has a rotating ball. It
Yeah.
can be a little distracting and stuff, but this is all right. It's just like
Well, the
um,
other thing is too, when you have it full screen,
mhm.
it's kind of translucent.
Oh, true.
You
That's
still
a good
see it, but it's translucent. All
good
right.
point.
Thanks, buddy. Be good.
Great
Live long, prosper, find joy, and all
life.
the
Have fun.
and Tony, good luck with the moving.